Have you ever had an idea for a product or a service that may improve your life or the lives of others? Maybe you told a friend or a family member about this idea, and maybe it just stayed as that, an idea. This next guest may inspire you to go ahead and bring that idea to life. She has gone on to make an idea into a mission to help the lives of others and revolutionize mental health care. Now a leading tech founder in Asia, she has gone on to develop Thailand's first mental health app and has gone to do some incredible things, being named as the BBC's top 100 inspiring and influential women. She has won a World Summit Award. She has helped thousands and thousands of people. Her story is one of passion and perseverance. So please give a very warm welcome to Dr. Kanpassorn Suryasanpech, also known as X. X, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi. Thank you so much for inviting me. Happy to be here.
I'm delighted. I got the absolute pleasure of meeting you a couple of weeks ago. We had a little introduction call, and ever since then, I've been so excited to talk to you more because we were on that call. Probably it was like a 10-minute call, but I could have stayed on that for the entire day happily. Um, so I'll start with just asking you, for anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of meeting or getting to know you, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey into developing Ooca and a little bit about Ooca as well?
Okay, sure. Um, hi everyone. My name is Ix. I'm the CEO and founder of Ooca. So, Ooca is Thailand's first and largest mental wellness app, and we have been running this like since like 2017. But actually, I had the idea, like my initial first idea, like lies, like maybe like at least like 1 or 2 years before that. So my background is a professional dentist. I was practicing as a dentist after my graduation for around 2 years, and I have my personal experience dealing with my own mental health for a long time, like since my teenager year. So I see the importance of mental health, and I also see the struggle that a lot of people, including myself, that have to get into the actual help or get into the actual treatment. I see a lot of that has to be trade with the quality of life, and also trade off with opportunities in their own life as well. So, like for example, like in my case, I have to change at least like six psychiatrists until I find one that I feel comfortable, or I feel that it's actually like the best click, or that my service is quite far away from where I was stationed at. So back then, I was stationed at a province that has to be at least like 6 hours away by driving. So every time that I need to talk to a psychiatrist, or I need to have that session, I have to wait for at least like a month. I have to also cancel all of my patients. So at the very same time, like even though like I'm not directly a psychiatrist, or I'm not directly a psychologist, I do see a problem, and I feel that with use of technology, like this could be improved in a better way. Yeah, that's why I kind of like got the idea, like, hey, why not like something? Why not use like telemedicine to help people access better? And also, this also helps with stigma directly. And back then, the practice of using telemedicine in telepsychiatry was not very common. It was something that was still questionable in the eyes of the practitioner. But I see the future that this is a way to go. And also, there has been some research going on in more developed countries like in the US or in the UK. So I And also back then, there already has been some of the guidelines coming out in terms of telepsychiatry. So I really feel that applying telepsychiatry could actually help Thailand mental health situation. And so that's how everything like came together. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's an incredible story. And, the human centeredness at the heart of everything is just, it was just such a big need. I'd like to know just what the current state of mental health services are now in Thailand.
I would say that Thailand is pretty much um, advanced comparing to other country in Southeast Asia. We have since our standard care is the universal health care, meaning everyone would have their rights to reimburse and should be able to reach out for help. Yeah, so that actually is a lot of financial struggles that a lot of us had, but there are also like other types of scheme that people could go for, but majority of us like undergone this UC or universal healthcare. Um, and also apart from the government supported scheme, there's also like private sector, like the private clinic, private hospitals, and um, and also a lot of organization coming in trying to improve like mental health services. The government pushes not only in the care pillar, but also they try to push in terms of like promotion and also like prevention. Yeah, but also the same thing with the management of time and resource. Like we might not have a lot of resource.
Hmm.
We I think it's practically very similar to elsewhere around the world, but in Thailand, the number of psychiatrists per capita is around like 1 to 80,000. So it's quite overwhelmed when someone wants a service and they're seeking help in a public sector. They have to wait long time, and also uh, when looking at Thailand population financial segmentation, you can see that uh, we have a lot of people that are living in the situation. It's difficult for them to even reach the hospital and to exchange it with their opportunities in their life, like their working hours or their opportunities that they have to care for other aspect in their life. So I would say I would say that we are quite progressive, but also there's a lot of room to improve.
Hmm. I think, and that's similar across, I'd say, everywhere in the world as well. You mentioned stigma there, and I'd like to just go back to that before we go into just a bit more about Uka. Um, how is Uka kind of addressing that stigma, or what were your hopes when developing Uka in addressing stigma around mental health?
So before UGA, people has to go to a hospital or clinics in order to get treated. And so I was thinking like, hey, how about like if there's is like any solution that allows them to get connected with psychiatrists without that type of notion, or is there any types of access that we could provide? So going online and also being flexible for them not to formally disclose their legal names helps them open up more, where they feel more comfortable accessing the service. Like somehow there are levels of acceptance, right? Where like, hey, I don't know yet if I have problems. Maybe I don't have a problem, or the levels where I might have a problem, but I'm not too sure. Or hey, I am quite sure that I have a problem, but there's no trigger that pushes me to actually go to the service. I'm like thinking back and forth. Or at the very last phase where hey, I have a problem and that trigger has already pushed me to actually open up for a service. We Uga actually help serve those type of people where hey, we are not quite sure, you do not know if it's at the appropriate stage or not to officially like reach out or actually go to the hospital. We help people get access, connected easier. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's anonymous on the platform.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's one thing that stood out to me a lot actually when I went to Uka to just try see what my journey would be like as somebody who would be coming to your platform. And the biggest thing for me was thinking of that situation that you may be in other services and sometimes at other platforms when you go to look for help there feels like there's a lot of barriers and it's difficult to get to the end point or to get to the point where you can actually see a solution and see that you are getting served something that will be really helpful for you. When I went to Uka, the entire um, journey for me was one of convenience, and it was
Mm,
quick and it was accessible and the language was really kind of comforting.
mm.
I know that that probably wasn't done by accident, and that's not a nice to have, it was a need to have. So when you were developing the platform, what went on in the background to make sure that that accessibility and that convenience was an offer for people visiting?
Mm, I think it's not just one checkpoint, but
Mm,
it's a learning curve that we, like all the product team, needs to go through in order to understand. Yeah, so humanizing the whole journey is the key, and also to actually care about like how people would feel like during the path of their user journey is important. So I think like in this particular question, it all goes down to UX UI process. Like, have we gone through like the research enough? Have we gone through like all the requirements before releases enough? Have we rechecked like how do they feel? If it's a happy path, how it's going to be like the unhappy part, how it's going to be like it's not like 100% perfect, but we are always trying to improve. Mm.
mhm. That's wonderful.
Yeah, humanistic approach, conversational UI. I think this is important.
Yeah, 100%. And then with that in mind, developing a platform like this for the first time, founding the idea and then becoming a CEO and developing a platform like this could not have come without its challenges. I'd like to know a bit more about, some of the main challenges that you faced during this journey and how you overcame them while developing.
Mm, I think I think there are major challenges depending on each phase of the company. Um, Initials one would be like how to actually set this up, to actually like execute everything, how to actually start. Yeah, I think that's the hardest part. And then the second is to find product market fit, like how to actually make like, the product that actually sell, or how to actually know where we're at. Like most of the time we don't know where we are at, but we have ugly result or good result. We have to know how did this happen, and it's not always that we are enlightened. We have to always to keep like rechecking on ourselves, like if we actually know where we are at in order to move on to the next step. Yeah, and then the next one would be how to actually build a good team that aligns with company's vision and also aligns with the culture that I'm trying to foster in the company, and also uh, about fundraising as well. Ooca is a mental wellness startup, and we start off in Thailand. It's a combination of very difficult things in multiple aspects. Number one is mental health. It's health tech. Health tech raises like less comparing to other types of startup, and also its mental health is actually a bit of a niche comparing to other types of like health. When you're talking to VC and when they do not understand the importance and also the degree of possibilities, it's quite hard to convince. Yes, and also at the same time, we are from Thailand. We're not like from Singapore. It's not sexy, and we're not from Indonesia as well. Yeah, so that's also very difficult in terms of like limitations and also stigma against like Thai startup or Thai founders. And um, yeah, I think those are the key things that we have to surpass.
Mm,
And as a founder myself, as a founder myself, I am not from the background where it's usually easier for VC to make decision. Like I'm not from uh, top school from US, not from Ivy League, not from UK, not ex Googler, ex Facebook, ex Amazon, and such thing. I'm just a dentist. Well, in some case, they might be like, "Hey, dentist is not bad," but dentist has no background in like building a business and also like think in a way that we could actually scale this. Yeah, so a lot of time it's quite questionable for them to judge and make decision.
mm.
Yeah, yeah. So I think like those are the key difficulties, like depending on the phase of the company. Yes.
And it's like it's sounding like there are so many things stacking up against being able to make Uka as big as it is now. It's what, like over 150,000 users on the platform um, since it launched in 2018. What do you believe have been some of the main aspects of the success of the platform?
I think the first aspect is number one, we are the first one in the business, so our branding is quite out there. Yeah, so branding is of course very important. I think I see telemedicine as something more like hospital types of business where you can have like a lot of hospitals anywhere, everywhere. And sometimes doctors go around and shop around too. But how to actually attract people and bring trust, I think. Uga company's branding is important. And also we have to be ahead of the curve in terms of
Yeah.
whatever mental innovation. Yeah.
And speaking of staying ahead of the curve, this will probably come in as like a three-part question. So, this season is all about looking to the future. So I'd like to ask you, how do you see the future of healthcare? How will technology and innovation impact the future of healthcare? And where amongst all of this is
I think the
the
future is hybrid. We have online service. We should think of a user as a whole, like they're a human being, right? What would you be? What would you do if you had your own like problems, or
yeah.
if you have the problem yourself? Online wouldn't be enough. What are the rest of the care that we could provide user to make it more holistic? So definitely hybrid. We're we are coming up with offline solutions so that user are more well connected and the treatment are better served. And also collaborations with hospitals, clinics. Yeah, in that sense, I think like in terms of healthcare, the future is hybrid. And also I think people right now are very much hype towards like tools like AI, chat GPT and such. I think there has been some of the examples that were using engines from ChatGPT to help people in terms of like mental wellness. I think those are the things that we should look for, we should eye for. What are the key things that we learn from like implementing those tools to the user? From my observation, the key thing would be that whether or not if user actually felt that they're empathized, if the counterparts that they're actually having conversation with is actually not human, how do they actually perceive? When actually they're not being empathized by anyone, but tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like at the very same time, it should be very beneficial to assist the process, but how to actually make it fruitful and believable. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Like the meaningful connection, between person using a
Yes.
service and AI. Um,
Yeah. It kind of like diminish after once you
mm,
learn that whatever conversation that had happened is there's no one behind that. You're not
yeah.
being accept. You're not being understand by anyone. How to actually like brought that up, how to actually scale that, or how to actually adapt that. Mm.
Yeah. And the willingness to be vulnerable as well might be impeded because you know that you're not speaking to a person
Mm.
who may have, studied within this field, who also combines their studies with human experience, which
Yes.
is an
so i
interesting.
so out of all that, it's not that I, hey, AI will not work in terms of mental health. No, I don't think so, but I think
Mm,
there needs to be a better way, yeah,
yeah.
to actually like present it or formulate it, or like there should be like other types of processes that they could actually plug in and help
Mm.
improve. Yeah.
Yeah, and even helping with the data management side, it doesn't have to be, well, we'll see what happens, but it's really interesting. And it's an interesting future that we're stepping into. Um, I'd like to ask, during all of this, what has been the single most important thing you have learned as a founder and a CEO in this space?
I think the single most important thing is grit, because not always that you would do things right. So you have to be able to put your mind into that mode where you're just going to kick it and do it. Yeah. So there has been a lot of times that I question myself, like, should I keep going? Should I stop? There's a lot of times I feel like, hey, I want to stop. I want to stop doing this. This is so hard for me. Like I could have like much better, like easier life, like waiting for me. My mother, like during the first 4 years starting Ooka, she constantly tell me to stop. She constantly tell me to like, yeah, it's better off like you could better off like do something else, or maybe it's easier for you to do nothing. Like we are comfortable. You don't
Mm,
have to do this. Yeah, you look like you're in a mess, or you look like you look like you are actually running into chaos by yourself at your own will. Yeah, so at some point in time, there might be some uncertainty, or that uncertainty might already have had happened. Yeah, but life would bring you surprises at times, and things might change. Yeah,
mm, that's wonderful. What
but
has been, oh, sorry. What
okay.
has been the, your mom saying, take the advice to stop, but on the other hand of that, then it's, what has been the best piece of advice that you've gotten during your journey?
I think the best piece of advice that I got was that there was one time like this mentor straight off, like with straight face, like telling this to me, that your CEO is your responsibility now. You're the best one that can do whatever you want to do. Whatever happened, even if like your arms or your legs got ripped off, you have to keep walking. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what he said to me. I'm like, really?
Okay, no pressure.
So I think that kind of like is that's very important to like keep me going, because that's a lot of time that I feel really sad, like when some key member leave, or when there's some conflict going on, or like sometimes if like question myself, like if I do the right thing. But like this particular word like hit me every time, like whatever happened, you have to keep going forward, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's incredible. And it will stick with you, like it stays there in the mind. Um, and if you were to impart advice onto anybody who may be listening to this, who may be in a position who, the people we spoke about at the beginning, who might have had an idea but never went forward with it, or may be wanting to improve their current services, what kind of advice would you offer to anybody who may be listening?
um I would say that like the more cliche version would be like idea is zero, it doesn't matter, you have to execute it. Like these are the things that we keep hearing all the time, right? In which I really support that. It's really true. Like idea worth nothing if you don't do it, or maybe it could worth it if you are a consultant.
Yeah.
So I think like take a look more at understanding who you are, what kind of risks that you can take, what is there any burdens, or is there any responsibility that you have to consider, or like if your personality or if your own constraint is appropriate if you want to be an entrepreneur or not. Yeah,
Mm,
it's not always that you have to be the entrepreneur. If you have the idea that's good enough and you know the drills, you know the risks that could happen, and you have that mental fit that you could try to break through, then perhaps might be okay to give it a try. Yeah, but if you consider yourself like, hey, like I cannot take that much of a risk and so forth, maybe join forces with those that already had done something and align with what you want, your vision. Maybe that's a good option as well. Have a think about it. Yeah, maybe we have more options than what than than we think. Mm.
I love that. I love that part at the end as well. There's
Mm.
always extra options there. Not one way is the only way. Um, what is coming up for Uka that maybe you'd like to let our listeners know about? Is there anything that you'd like to tell us about the platform
Okay.
coming up over the next few months?
So at least for now, Uga is focusing 100% on like dominating Thailand. Yeah, but of
Hmm.
course, like in the future, we would like to expand to other countries as well. So if anyone would like to refer us to those in Thailand, like very happy, you could, yeah, share our link to them www.ooca.co, or download our application OOCA on both Android and iPhone. If there's any comments, anything that you would like to share, you want to reach out to me, please do so. You can find me on LinkedIn, EIX. I think that's quite easy. And if anyone feel like it's aligned with what they want to do, and feel that it might be a fit for you, um, don't hesitate to reach out to me as well. Yeah, we're hiring a lot.
I saw this. I wanted to say that as well. I was so happy to see that there's so many job opportunities coming up with you guys, and it's
Yeah,
incredible to see. And the roles are so exciting too.
yeah. Please, we need more people. We are growing. Please, we need
We're
people
growing
to
quickly.
help us.
And with that, I think that's a great way to end things. I just want to thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being you, and thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you to your entire team as well. You are making such a difference in this world, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
I want to say that I really appreciate you inviting me. I really appreciate all the respect that you have given me, and also, yeah, I think it's a good thing if the idea get to spread around. And yeah, I also wish that more people listen to Smart OSC as well. Yeah, thank you very much.